Hey guys, welcome back to One Roll at a Time. I'm Juan,
I'm Marty.
aka the Professor Marty, and we're back with another guest. Who do we have here today?
Joel Wasserman.
Joel Wasserman. Welcome. Thank you so much for your time. Again, guys, all our One Roll at a Time family, Arayama family, hashtag Orange Crush family. We're doing this so that we can all kind of get to know each other, but also most importantly, learn from each other because Jiu-Jitsu, it's a tough journey, right? So the more journeys we hear, the easier it'll be for us to be like, hey, that sounds like my journey, right? And the first thing that I want to kick it off with is kind of to learn a little bit more about your guys' journey, right? Specifically, like, how do you guys know each other? Because I know that you guys trained before Aoyama. So we'll take it off with you, Marty.
Yeah. So Joel and I met at Outliers Jiu Jitsu. I don't know. That must have been 2019. Was it
Yeah,
2019?
right.
Yeah. I think I was a purple belt. I know I was a purple belt. Joel was brand new to Outliers. And I remember like the first interaction that we had. I just remember that I liked Joel and that we started training together, started rolling together on a regular basis. And then that progressed in just a great friendship. Yeah.
Nice. I heard a story about you guys training.
Mhm. Yeah.
What was that? Because was it during like COVID times that you guys had to train?
No, this was like after COVID times where I think Joel was like getting into competition mode. He was like thinking about taking it on, and he wanted to. From my perspective, what I thought I heard was Joel wanted to focus on like becoming more physical in the way that he rolled and being able to push guys around a little bit more and things like that. And I have a home gym in my garage, and I like to work out at the time at like 4:30 in the morning. And Joel was like, "I'll be there." And so yeah, we spent months working out in my home gym at early in the morning, breathing the cold air out of the mouth, all bundled up in the garage, doing deadlifts and squats and push press and all the Olympic lifting in my home gym. Oh no, it's just like, a squat rack, a bunch of dumbbells, a bench,
Nice.
a couple of Olympic bars, and like you just make do with what you had there. Yeah. Yeah. So Joe would come in and we would throw weights around and yeah. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice. Cool.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first roles I had with Marty, and I had just studied like a bunch of videos on the back step, and Marty went into half guard, and I pulled the back step escape, and he was like, "What? That was how did you do that? You sandbagger, sandbagger." It was funny because I had just like watched the video before class like 20 times that day, and I was able to actually apply it in a role. It was a funny moment that I remember. So
now I know maybe that's why he says don't watch Instagram, don't follow those videos, because you're gonna catch him slipping.
That way you don't use it on me.
Yeah. You say you don't remember, but Joel told me you were the bully. No, just kidding. You were that guy sitting from the last episode that you said that was sitting in the corner waiting to beat up the white belts. That was you. But no, yeah, Joel, thank you for sharing this story. I want to kind of hear a little bit about you. What kind of got you either like into jiu-jitsu, kind of like your journey,
Sure. I started martial arts at a very young age. I think I was like 5 or 6 years old. Stuck with it for about 5 years. What got me into martial arts was behavioral problems at school, and my sisters used to kick the crap out of me. And so when I went to school and other kids would try to give it to me, wasn't having it. So thus the behavioral problems.
Yeah.
I got tired of the routine. I trained for 5 years at Ben Cohen's American Kempo Karate. Shout out to Ben Cohen. And then I was just like, you know what? I want to try other things. I want to run the streets with my friends. And it haunted me. Quitting martial arts haunted me for decades after that. So that's what led me eventually back into martial arts and then a segue into jiu-jitsu.
Nice. Way to be honest and humble, right? Quitting. That's a strong word that not a lot of people use.
Yeah.
So what kind of convinced you, or what was the moment, or who was the catalyst who like helped that out?
Well, my wife, who's sitting over in the audience right now,
Oh.
she got tired of hearing me say,
Stop. Yes.
she got tired of hearing me saying, "What if I would have never quitted?"
Back in my day.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
kick this high.
Yeah, I was sitting at work one day and she came to my work for lunch and we were hanging out and I kept on saying, I wish I wouldn't have quit. How would my life be different? And I think a lot of it was because of stress. I was stressed about work and stressed about life. And martial arts has just been such a great outlet for me. And for the most part, it's been positive interactions, positive people, and positive growth experiences. So
Mhm.
that's
Nice.
yeah.
And when you came back, was it back to Taekwondo or Jiu Jitsu, or like what did you come back to? What martial art?
Okay, so I did Kenpo karate was my first martial art, and then I did like a little bit of like street fighting with friends growing up, and I did not do very well. But yeah, being the smallest guy, you know. Anyhow,
Fighting
then
Kimbo.
yeah, actually, I have a friend
Yeah.
that went to high school with me who fought Kimbo,
Really?
and they had to drag him out of the backyard by his ankles.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Really?
very bad, and it's one of Kimbo's highlight reels.
Oh
Wow.
man.
Yeah. Anyways, glad I didn't go that far with it.
Yeah, you stopped right before that fight.
But yeah, so I found a martial arts gym close to where I lived in Point Loma at the time. Is primarily Taekwondo, but they did dabble in other martial arts. And then that became a segue for me to learn about Jiu Jitsu. The head sensei there, Darren Kikuchi, he was a brown belt at the time in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and he was trying to establish a partial BJJ program along with freestyle martial arts and all the other types of martial arts there. And so that was my earliest experience of BJJ, and I wanted to learn more about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, Joel's probably too humble to admit it, but I think he's basically a black belt in Taekwondo from his training, and then he's also a 4-stripe blue belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he's got a wide range of skills.
Martial
Yeah,
art.
yeah. And I wanted to just call out Joel, like triggered something loose in my brain about quitting martial arts or quitting jiu-jitsu or anything like that in general. And I would just want to shout out Fee and Ethan. Fee is my good friend from high school. I met him freshman year of high school. I've known him now 25, 27 years. And his son, Ethan, is 14 years old. He just signed up with us and he was here all week with us. And I was talking to him yesterday, and like, this is a message that I want to like communicate to everybody about jiu-jitsu. Whether you're here, you're at the beginning of your journey, you're somewhere, progressing in it, you've been doing it for a long time. And it's that when you start, it's new and it's fun and it's exciting. It's this new adventure. You learn all this new stuff, but then it very quickly gets hard and it gets really hard. And the really easy stuff that starts coming up are excuses for why you can't come in. But they're always excuses. They are always excuses for why you're not training as much. It's because, and the root source is always because it got really, really hard. And it's discipline and it's dedication that gets you to come back and pursue and continue to make sure that you get the outcomes that you want. So just want to make sure that everybody thinks about that. As you have a story like Joel, where he said it haunted him, that he left, right? And that happens to everybody. That's like the story of the Blue Belt Blues. I won't hijack the conversation, but I'm always talking to people about how people get their blue belt, and very often they leave jiu-jitsu. And like Joel had a 10-month break, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joel had a big 10-month break, and like that's a big thing that hits your game hard, cardio wise, game wise, timing, like the way that you see the game, it all changes. You're a different practitioner when you come back and get your feet back under you. You're not the same. I know, because I took a few breaks as well. So anyway, just food for thought for everybody. This is going to get hard, and it's going to get easier to listen to that voice that talks you out of coming to train, and that's the real challenge that you face in training jiu-jitsu is talking yourself into showing up when it's very easy to talk yourself out.
So Ellen said, share the story about when you and your friend started.
Yeah.
He got the blue belt and stopped.
Yeah.
That way the listeners at home
know
the fun.
Yeah, I
throughout.
I have a good buddy of mine. that was like a white belt with me when I started in 2009, and him and I used to have epic white belt, scrappy battles all over the mats. And we both got our blue belts, and then he was in the Marines. He got deployed and moved and traveled all over the place. And 15 years later, it was a long journey for me. I got my black belt. And him watching me on social media, not just me, but like all of us that were friends with him, inspired him to get back in. And he just got his blue belt at the end of last year. Just got his blue belt. Yeah.
We already gave him a shout.
Yeah. So Andrew, his name is Andrew. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to come back, and it's great that he's great that he's back in. I'm stoked for him. I watch him on social media and see all of his posts, and I'm just stoked for him. But like that guy, could arguably been a black belt 9 years ago. Before me, because he was, he'd ragged on me around the mats. And like Maria, Maria cranked some darces on me tonight, man. Wow.
Can I say it one more time?
Yeah, that was funny.
Nice and slow.
Yeah, that was funny. I almost was like, you should do it on somebody else. She darced me like 6 times in that demonstration, man, and it was that was a tight choke. Yeah, Friday nights, women's at 6:15 to 7:30, women only, and then right after is co-ed, everybody 7:30 to 8:30. So great Friday night no-gi training with Professor Maria. She's amazing. She does such a great job. She cares so much. She's so helpful. She's really something special. You guys should take advantage of making sure that you get more time with her.
Yeah. And we're white belts in podcasting. You're like, you guys got a guest here, and you guys just keep talking. But last shameless plug. Don't forget to get your fresh rash guards. So stop by. Look at that new font. It's broken into already. But we're learning. And Joel, thank you. And shout out Cynthia, the first guy. Yeah. Joel's the second one, so we're still learning, but we'll get back on track. And speaking of back on track, I have a question, because I always like to, this is all for me to just pick your guys' brain and learn about. And now that I know you have a black belt in another martial art, what surprised you the most about like jiu-jitsu, since you already had that other martial arts background? Like, because I'm assuming you don't train the other ones right now. It's like mostly jiu-jitsu, or do you still go do all that stuff?
Yeah, mostly jiu-jitsu. The other martial arts, I don't actively train, but the principles and the concepts will never leave me. Most of the other martial arts that I have trained are more self-defense, street style, how to really hurt somebody if you need to. And I feel like, with jiu-jitsu, there's a blend of, taking care of your training partner. I mean, they call it one of the softer arts, but there's nothing soft about somebody's forearm in your face, or somebody saying, no, move your knee from his belly to his throat. There's nothing soft about that. But, one of the great things about jiu-jitsu too is I feel like every time I experience it, it teaches me a little more of like where I begin and where I end, and where you begin and where you end, and just learning like life experiences and experiencing people in different scenarios, right? So I think that's kind of I feel like it's more relative to me at this point in my life.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I love that. You're like, honestly, like one of the first like mixed martial artists that I've talked to like that. Like, I mean, if you just haven't shared, if you have done anything else, right? But I feel it's like you're almost creating like your own like yin and yang. It sounds like the other martial arts, like you said, it was more like, with like more impact, like more aggression almost, and like you're
kick the knee, gouge the eye, rip the groin.
You're like balancing yourself out, which it sounded like where you were at that moment in your life. You needed that to bring you in. Kind of like you were in the darkness, right? And you needed to come back. So like, what would you tell to someone who is right now, like kind of struggling with that? Because it's easy to kind of think that the next purchase would make that difference, right? Or the next job. It's always like outside, right? But like, any martial art, specifically jujitsu, makes you take a journey like within yourself. So like, how would you help someone in that moment, like, or how would you go back and help Joel like sooner?
Well, you know, I'm kind of a high stress person, and sometimes I get angry, and I try to stave off as much of that as possible. And in a roundabout way, that's really what led me to come back and train. Is I called Marty and I said, Marty, I'm having problems with my work life. I'm super stressed out. I'm having these thoughts, you know, of wanting to hurt somebody. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna do it, but I need to come train. I need a positive atmosphere. Um, I need a release. Um, I need somebody to cross face me, somebody to neon belly me, people to humble me, but also to get, it's a give and take relationship. Give a little, get a little, and man, since I've been back, I can honestly say I've been on a pretty good routine and a pretty good schedule. And one of my commitments to myself, and I'm going to share this with everybody, is that I don't want to lose that momentum that I've gained again, especially after taking 10 months off. And I'm sharing this as an accountability for myself. And that the mental health aspect has helped me so much, especially just going through career changes and life circumstances. I feel like my friends in my community here, my family here at this gym, have been there to hold me up and give me back my self-esteem and my confidence at a time when I just felt devalued and betrayed by what was going on with my previous employer.
With the
So
world.
yeah.
No, yeah. Hey, Joel, thank you so much for sharing. Like
Yeah.
that it takes someone who's like super strong, but also who like they know how much how much you struggled, so you want to help people there, right? And my daughter, executive producer Rebecca, will tell you I'm a crier. So if I cry during this time, it's because even this week alone, it's been a really rough week for me, at work with the kids. That's why I'm gonna be honest, I didn't train all week because I was sleeping 1 to 2 hours a day and then forced overtime, stuff like that, right? Outside of outside of our control, right? And then even today, like I was like, no, I want to you practice the move on me, right? And then they're like, you sure? And I'm like, no, pressure. Because you need that. I needed that today. I'm like, I want them to, I want to release that, right? It really does help. So thank you for sharing that because I think that's a big aspect that it's like, right, you can't really put that on a brochure because you won't understand until you're actually there.
Yeah.
So, Marty, you as like the black belt in jiu-jitsu and the professor, like, how do you, how can you explain to someone like those benefits additionally, right? And like because you have to change your mindset to like chase that. It's not overnight that you're like, oh, I like, this makes fun. This is fun, right? Like,
Right.
this is enjoyable.
Yeah. I just like it's hard for me to explain it because I think I have like a conflict of interest because Ellen and I have so much in this time, energy, and like hopes and dreams about what we want this to be. And so sometimes I might look at this with like rose-colored lenses, but to try to answer your question and like try to take a middle line on it and just base it off of the experiences that I've had is like some of the best friends that I've ever had in the world came out of my time on the mats at a jiu-jitsu school. And that is so important because like after, I don't know, college, man, it's so hard to make friends. It's so hard to establish those relationships, and the relationships of where like I'm thinking about people where I'm like, man, I hope if that guy's car breaks down at 3 a.m, he calls me. You know what I mean? Like I would be mad if he didn't call me and he needed a ride to the airport at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of bonds that you establish here. That's how I feel about you guys. That's how I feel about a bunch of people here. Like I want to be there for them. I want to come through for them. You know what I mean? And be a rock for them. And I think people feel that way about me too. And man, when you know you have a couple of those, that's a powerful feeling. You know what I mean? It's like a net underneath you to like, for when you're falling in some tough times. And like, you know, I have a stressful job too. Like walking in here and seeing all the faces of everybody, you know what I mean? And the fun that we have with the kids and everything like that. It's just um, it's just, I said this word a bunch of times. It's just a really powerful thing to know that that's there and that you have those people, you know? And it means a lot to me. Like, it's going to sound like a shameless plug, but Joel and I were talking the other day and he was telling me, you know, like how much he's enjoying it and how much it's meant to him and like how he views this compared to his other experiences. And it's all, you know, just really, really positive. And man, I haven't stopped thinking about that since he told me that, you know what I mean? Like that has been, I've been riding a wave of like positivity since then. Yeah.
No, but we have like, I mean, not hundreds, but maybe you do, right?
Yeah.
Of people who like have reached out, right? And been like, hey, like this helped me, in this way. Even like the smallest thing, like since we're all just being honest, right? Like
Sure,
say,
yeah,
and
yeah.
don't be afraid to be shameless plug because that's why we created this podcast. Because we want your business and Ellen's business and all your guys' dreams to come true, and we believe in Arayama. So that's why it's in the logo. That's why we're wearing the shirt. So and it's to drive the business, but because we believe that the product really changes or even saves people's lives because it has for both of us. But yeah, like sometimes it's like it's easy to like kind of like want to like just give up and quit, right? Like even like with the when you like make a reel, you know, and like no, it's like, oh yeah, I got 4 likes, right? But it's like, but you never, but then you get the person who like comments and is like, hey, like this helped me, or like I went to train today, like so like that really helps. And like one, I'm just curious with you because you're able to again come back that what I told I'm the worst with names. Oz's like grandson-in-law who came. Jalen.
Yeah.
Shout out Jalen. It was his first class today. He came in.
Great job.
Yeah. Oz just surrounded by giants. So thanks for bringing one more to beat us up. But what I told him, I was like, hey, don't worry. Like, I'm like, hey, the hardest part is just showing up to class. So for you, like after, especially once you leave, right? Everyone, and if you go to the same gym, right? They're like, oh, he's back. So like, what's the hardest part for you right now? Like, to stay in jujitsu, and how do you like address that hard part?
I think for me, it's like setting a boundary, knowing, like, especially going into a new career, is that like I have to set these certain boundaries to be able to make sure I can make it to a certain amount of classes so that I could keep a balanced life. And then also the home life balance as well, making sure that my commitments to my wife and my dogs, that they're all taken care of as well. Because when I come in and train, you know, that's time away, right? Much needed, but at the same time, you know, there's the juggling, right? So
Do you like plan it out? Do you schedule it?
I try to, going into like the week, you know, I'll be like, okay, and I'll talk to my wife and say, what do you think about me doing a trifecta on Tuesday? And she's like, that's a lot of running back and forth. We'll have to figure this out, you know, about, you know, taking out the dogs and meals and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, a couple trifectas later, I'm like, what do you think about me doing a platinum Tuesday and a Thursday? And she's like, we got to talk about that too. But, you know, right now I'm just in a season where it makes sense. You know, I could be sitting at home climbing up the walls, and I got time and I want to use it wisely, and I want to come in here and train and learn and help other people learn. And it's really good. So
And again, shout out to your wife. That's one of the most underrated, I feel like, underrated gifts that will allow you to have a jujitsu journey, right? Because if they're not on board, you're not training, son. But you want to say?
No, it's the absolute truth, man. It's Joel, what he hit, your commitments for work, your commitments to yourself, your commitments to your family, like making sure that you have boundaries and you can balance that all out, man. That's so incredibly important. I'm curious, Joel, I'm kind of going off script here, man. Like, Can you talk a little bit about your experience here versus your experience at other schools, martial arts, jujitsu, or otherwise, and like talk about how you view it is the same and different, where it's the same and where it's different?
Okay, yeah, I've trained at quite a few different schools. Some are more disciplined than others, so some are like more military like, where it's like you line up and you get in line and hands by your side at attention, almost like the 1,000-yard stare. Um, and I think that's really good for setting discipline, right? For those who need it, but also there comes a time where that might impinge like the learning and the fun part. And I think there's a delicate balance, but then there's also been, I feel like other environments that I've been in where it's just too relaxed and almost like anything goes. And, I think that kind of hurts the educational experience, especially if you got, you know, um, a big class. There's a lot of people and there's cross talking and nobody's really paying attention. And then when everybody goes to do the technique, nobody knows what they're doing. Maybe there's not enough instructors to oversee it. Um, and whether it's martial arts or whether it's, I was a teacher at a high school for 5 years, a classroom's a classroom, right? And so classroom management's really important. And when you start an academy or a martial arts institute, there's some things that you have to look at it from like administrative purposes and certain rules you have to follow. And because you want to make sure that the learning experience is as crisp as possible for everybody, and then you also want to make sure it's accessible for everybody. Um, so I've had a lot of different experiences, and I don't know if I really answered the question there. But for me, um, the community here, the relationships, and it's really an amazing thing. And I like that we pick something like half guard. We're going to do deep half. We're going to do it for 2 weeks, So sink in, lock in, like here it is. And then having the curriculum online that we can access it. And yeah, that's great. Tracking attendance, that's amazing. Because I have some friends that started tracking their attendance when they were doing jujitsu, like from 7 years ago. One of my buddies, shout out to Grubs. Grubs was like, I'm on class 744. And right now at this second, it's like 744 and a half because we're halfway done with class. I'm like, that's pretty rad, Um, and it's all
in the year. You can start that this year.
yeah. So that's honorable. I love it. But so I think, finding out what works and, you know, being a little bit flexible to your community because different communities have different needs, so part of it's going to be like your students and your teachers will kind of shape it together. It's a collaboration, right? But once again, coming back to boundaries, right? Like, what is this school willing to accept and what are they not willing to accept, right? So I think that's important, and what you guys have going on, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm beyond stoked because I remember when we were working out in your garage and I never even knew that you were thinking about starting a gym until you came back from, was it Kansas City? And then you're like, hey, can you come help me out? And I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm stuck in the desert doing this job. Um, and then I kept watching on Facebook, seeing like the post of you and the program growing and the kids and all the smiles. And like, I was like, man, I love how much of a difference you're making. And I miss that. And I'm just nothing but proud and happy for you guys. And then to come in here and be welcomed and to be able to be a part of that, it's just like, it's been such a blessing for me. So
Thanks, man. I think you answered that perfectly. I realized, like, immediately after the question came out of my mouth, I was like, I think you probably sound like you're trying to get Joel to trash other schools, and that wasn't my intention at
no,
all.
not at all.
And so, like, the way that you handled that question was great, Joel. That was amazing, man. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, thank you for calling out those details. We really do try to put something structured together and have a direction and have focus. And be thoughtful about all of those things. And so it means a lot to hear you say those things. Yeah, it's really appreciated. And man, Joel, it's great to have you here, man. This guy in the kids' classes, you guys should see him. He's such a great addition, man. Yeah, so good. And when there's some kids that are having meltdowns, Joel doesn't lose it. Stays right here the whole time, never up, never down, right here the whole time, always keeping it together and keeping the kids together, man. It is such a great addition to have you, man. I mean, huge difference, man. As you know by the fact that I text you all the time asking if you can come in and help. Because
I think of kindergarten cop.
Yeah,
that's Marty. how you haven't lost it like that? I'm like, thank God, Marty. You got some patience too, man.
Yeah, you're like, I only do this every other week. No, and that's why, Joel, you're a blessing too. Like we just got to know each other like not even like a month ago ish, just ran we started talking more. But you're a blessing too, man, and thank you, because your energy, like it's just like that, like you feel it. And that's what we could say about a lot of people at Arayama, right? And you said it too, like with the community, like we try to make it so that even whether it's like your first day or your last day, like if you're welcome. I had a question about your jiu-jitsu. I've had the pleasure of you beating me up a lot of times. So who has influenced like your jiu-jitsu the most? Like whether it's like a certain like jiu-jitsu player or a certain style that you like, and like what do you play? Since you're like one of the higher, I feel like once you're a blue belt, you kind of start forming a game more. So that's why I'm curious for you. Or
that's really a hard question for me because I haven't said like there's one person that's like this person is like like John Wick, or something.
Yeah, that's good answer. Thanks.
But real quick, the kids inspire me, and then all the people I train with, it's not just one person. I think the sport and the community, it's a living, breathing entity, and just respect for all who train, because I think there's something to be learned from everybody, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What's your like favorite position in like in submission? You don't have to be related.
No, it's cool. I like to get to north south, and then if I can get a paper cutter in there, I'm pretty stoked on that. Or if I'm knee cut, knee slice, arm triangle.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Nice. That's the aggressive side coming out of you. Like gentle art.
Yeah.
Nice. And then the next question I had for that is like, what would you tell someone who's like just starting off, like to when they're already thinking of like this is too hard. I keep losing.
Is that we've all been there, and just think about the progress you're making, whether it's, taking longer for people to submit you, learning every time you tap, okay, how do I not put myself in that situation again? Or how do I stop that situation a little sooner? Right now I'm personally working on defending against knee on belly. And it's hard because I told Marty this the other day. I said, I wait too long to react and they've already settled in. It's kind of like somebody saying, how do I defend the rear naked choke after they've already sunk it? It's like, if you're still awake to tap, you tap, right? But like if they've already locked it up, you can't really get out, And so, it is hard, but look for, ask a lot of questions and look at it as a learning experience and like how do I, make it right? Or what do I need to fix? Because it's more about like fixing yourself and fixing the situation than it is about winning or getting more submissions. That's what I found.
Nice. Have you competed before?
I've competed 4 times.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Gi or no gi? Or
they were all gi.
Perfect. Nice.
You signed up for Naga. Both gi and no gi, right?
I did. Yeah, I signed up for that.
When is that?
That's at the end of this month.
Okay. Ready.
And there
That's
goes
like 2 weeks away. January's halfway done, dude.
I know. So I got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do.
Yeah, and I'm stoked for Joel to compete. I'm bummed because I'm actually out of town for work travel when he's competing. And one thing that I've been really proud of that we've done here is that when Adiyama has competed, we've showed up in force. And I don't like, I have come from schools, I've been at multiple schools where like I have shown up for years to tournaments by myself, you know, without any support, without a coach in my corner and things like that. And I don't want that. I don't want that for anybody here. And so, you know, for anybody who is going to be around, what's the date?
January 31st.
January 31st. Joel is competing. Where is it located?
National City High School.
National City High School at the Naga tournament. I think Louis said that he might be able to come down and support you, but like Adiyama team, Adiyama family, you know, I'm not saying sign up, but you know, one of ours is going down there and is going to be out there on the mat. So if you guys can show up and scream and yell the way that you've always done it at the other tournaments, I think that would be great. Any of the instructors who are willing to go down and make sure that Joel has plenty of people screaming at him in his corner and yelling at the refs too. Like you got to hold the refs accountable. You got to hold the scoring people accountable. Like if you don't have somebody in your corner watching that stuff, then they make mistakes. It doesn't get corrected, and you know we've seen people lose over that stuff. And, you know that's why that stuff is important, and again that's why I like us all going together. And so
Well, the timer stopped on me at Jiu Jitsu World League.
yeah,
The timer stopped. I didn't know that. Yeah, but you guys did. Yeah, so thank you guys because I was dying and like
It would have been a 15-minute round.
It would have been a 15-minute round. Yeah. Dang, so I didn't think of that. No, but cool. Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah.
Gi and no gi.
Yep.
Nice. We're gonna have to like.
I gotta
Shark Tank you.
Yep. I gotta turn up the volume here.
No, well, turn it up from platinum trifecta. How do you turn it up from that?
Training, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, and you fight at your belt level, you fight at your age level, you fight at your weight. So like my I'm gonna shamelessly kind of talk about this. Like I don't like the grappling X's, the grappling industries, the Nagas of the world. I always recommend people not do those because those are the tournaments where I have shown up and when I've competed at them. The last time I did a grappling X, I fought a 330-pound guy and a guy that was 190 pounds because each of us didn't have a guy in their bracket, so they just smashed us together. And I was like, you didn't send me this ahead of time. I didn't know that this was happening. I just show up here and they're like, if you want to fight, this is your... Yeah, and I had cut weight and I had made weight. I had cut weight to make it into my weight division. I show up and I had to fight two guys that were already 30 pounds. The lightest guy was 30 pounds heavier than me, and the other guy was, 330 pounds. And I fought the 330-pound guy first.
Yeah.
This was at purple belt.
And how'd you do?
He didn't sub me. He beat me like 6-2 or something like that. Yeah. And I scored 2 points because when he went to hip throw me and we went to the mat, I rolled him. So I turned that into 2 for
reversal.
Me. Yeah. But then he got on top and I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
I couldn't get out from underneath.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Gravity's undefeated. So now that, yeah, I love Jiu Jitsu World League. It was cool. Now that you're like training, obviously like people always say, oh, like even when you're a black belt, you're always learning, right? But there is a moment where like it starts to click, or like even whether it's again not John Wick or Matrix, like, whoa, I know everything, but like when you're like, hey, this is making sense. Like, do you remember that moment like where I know sometimes you say like it was your first submission or like things like that, like, or a good class or even a competition when you're like, oh, this is starting to click?
Well, my competition history hasn't been like stellar. It's mostly been me getting my tail kicked. But I think there's like
that's most people, by the way.
Yeah. And I'd like to say instead of just like a one aha moment where life went from black and white to like full color, it hasn't been like that for me. It's been, a couple flashes of color here and there, and like, it'll last for a little bit of time. And then once everything starts to go black and white and gray, then I have to start looking at, okay, why am I becoming stagnant, or why do things seem like they're dulling, or why am I not retaining information, what's causing this, you know?
Oh, that's good. Like
So
to be intentful. We talk about that with the training. I think that's what can also like that was you actually answered the question I had was like, what do you do in those moments when you feel, you know, you becoming stagnant and it's like asking why or what.
Mhm.
And it might be that it's like, oh, okay, because either you're doing the move wrong or it's not even the move for you, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
asking questions and being curious about your jujitsu,
Mhm.
I think is what will like change you and help you out. Um, one last thing that I wanted to ask you, and then Marty could take over if he has another question. Would be like, what is like the biggest mistake that you see us white belts do? What and it could be, and again, it's more like I know you're like a very loving and kind person, but
Mhm.
help us either
Sure.
beat you up or survive
No.
a extra couple seconds,
No,
please.
this
I'm
was
asking for a friend, not for
yeah,
me.
no worries. I never judge the white belts, you know, and the more I train, it's like I've learned it's not even about you never know anybody's history, right? Somebody could be a white belt in jiu-jitsu and they could be a black belt in judo. They could be a white belt in jiu-jitsu and they could be a Navy SEAL. And just because I'm a blue belt doesn't mean that I'll be able to take a 220 Navy SEAL who's a white belt. Um, unless maybe I like kick him in the kneecap, but that's not legal. That's not legal. Nor would I want to damage government property. Okay. So, mad respect to armed forces, you know, and the military personnel. And, I think as a white belt, you know, taking care of your training partner is the most important thing. Um, releasing like not being so death grip, you know, and I'm guilty of this too, and that's why I speak of it is like be loose. Be loose if you need to move to the next position. Be loose if you capture an arm and you're going to go for a submission. Don't just yank as hard as you can, you know, hold the limb and then just slowly apply the pressure. And what I've even realized is like even in transitioning moments. So Jerry Lancaster, shout out to you. I was trying to stack past him, on an arm bar, and he just sat back slow and controlled, and I could not stack pass because of I had no momentum to work against. So if you get to where you're gonna do a submission or whatever, you can go slow and in control. The person who's trying to resist it, they're it's going to make it harder for them. But also it takes care of your partner. And for me, personally, if I'm not sure if I have it or not, at a certain point, I'll just let go of it because I would rather uh, not injure the person than yank harder and they don't tap and then it's too late. You know, you hurt their knee, you hurt their elbow, their ankle, whatever. So just be conscious of the moves that we're practicing. Communicate really well with your team members, especially I like to, if I go to roll with somebody, hey, do you guys have an injury? My shoulder, my knee, my pride, whatever.
Hey, why you gotta put me on blast like
My neck, So I think communication's key. And then, stay loose, stay relaxed, and we're not fighting to the death here.
Yeah. And that's the hardest part, right? Because you think like that you need all that energy and all that strength. Like staying loose is like it's like the secret weapon, but it's the hardest thing to master. Nice. We kind of talked a little bit about like something. What we'll have is like our guests kind of share a little bit like a topic that they wanted to like even just give us a little bit of insight on. So one thing that Joe and I talked about was talking about finally finding breasts without being restless. Did I get that right?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got it right.
Why did you want to kind of highlight that and give us tips or share that with our Ariyama family?
Well, it's funny because I actually asked Marty and Juan this, and they're like, "That's your topic now. That's your topic to
Sorry, we
speak
gave you
on."
homework on it.
uh, so, but I have been reflecting recently, leading up to this time here, and I think it comes down to experiencing life. Every day. Like if I'm out walking the dogs, it's just like acknowledging. Uh, experiencing breath work. Because in jujitsu, somebody's trying to take your breath away.
Trying
Trying to take your breath.
Cue the music.
Not in a romantic way. So, finding rest, and then if I'm like, say I'm not training or I can't train this week or whatever, work, life happens. How do I keep from going insane, right? So,
and we just met, but correct me if I'm wrong. Your wife is here too.
Yeah.
I feel like you would probably be hard on yourself if you weren't training. Like on days like are you pretty, like you'd be like, oh, because that's how I am sometimes. I'm like, like it snowballs the negativity. So like that's how I am. If you're not, then good. If you are, then or if you're not, what are some tips you can give me? Like, because I beat myself up like if I don't come, and it's not like a planned rest day, right? If you have any tips for me.
Yeah, don't shame yourself. Like, don't beat yourself up. I think an important tool is like, we have this community, and you don't have to literally be here on the mat to exercise the community and to show love. Like, we got group chats going on. We have the podcast. Phones and technology, man. It goes beyond these walls. And so just being able to reach out to other people and say, hey, this is what's going on with me in life today. And, it's a rainy day. I wish I could be there, but just checking in and say what's up.
Yeah.
And I like to look at the Instagram and see the pictures to see who made it to classes. Cause even though like I'm not there, I feel like seeing who's there, it's like right on. That's who's carrying the torch for today. Right.
So you like the pictures?
Oh, I love them. Absolutely love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if people think it's too much.
I love them because I'm the same way. I'm like, yeah, he got after it. Like even if I didn't, like
I think it's inspiring, and it's kind of like a soft accountability thing. Like you come in and you put some work in. Like you deserve the right to show people that you're proud to put the work in, and I think it inspires people.
Yeah, man. Keep the pictures coming.
Yeah.
When you're pushing like that, especially like with a tournament coming up, but even if you're not competing, regardless of that, when do you know that it's time to add some rest, or like, especially with like quantum diamond trifectas that you're doing, right? You're like the Thanos of trifectas now.
No.
But like at what point? Yeah, infinity. Yeah, that'll be good. How do you, besides like the body? Because I think a lot of us can tell like when the body's aching. But what are like some things that you notice, maybe in your mind or how you're acting, that you're like, I need a rest, and then how do you implement that rest?
I think it's I think if I'm becoming irritated or like I feel like overcommitted, and I don't mean that like out of like, I don't mean it to like, maybe I put myself in a routine, and it's what comes when Marty was talking about being disciplined, and then the perseverance part starts grinding on you after a while, and you're like, oh, this is becoming a grind. Like, okay, I'm starting to feel grinded out. I think I become bitter, and it's not at, I did it to myself, and my wife's the first person to say, well, you chose this. There you go. She's just shaking her head over it.
That trifecta.
Yeah. But and perseverance is a serious battle. That's an everyday thing, whether it's work or whether it's train. The cool thing about jiu-jitsu, I feel like, is it's like a lifelong journey, and just knowing that you're like locked in. If you choose, you can be locked in for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And so give yourself a break, right? We can all be our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, thanks for sharing it. That's why I asked, because I have the same, like, even like red flags or warning signs, right? But especially like that for someone who hasn't like trained as long, right? Like we need to know, like, besides the body, like what to look out for, like in our minds, that it's time to rest. Besides like just obviously relaxing and lounging, and I seen your 360 video, like editing videos. Like, what are some other active like recovery things you like to do?
Well,
DJs.
yeah, I used to DJ parties and weddings and yeah.
We just didn't have space for it.
Yeah.
Right.
That, I used to run my dog like 10 miles. When I was training for those comps, I was running my collie like 10 miles a day. And but that's not resting, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like to rest by like doing a marathon with my dog.
right? Poor dog.
Yeah.
Surfing is
Oh.
anaerobic because you paddle out and then you sit for a while, right? And so I like to surf. Sometimes it's like it could be like busting out the tools and like fixing something or just taking something apart, and then trying to put it back together. Doing artwork. I love artwork. Finding ways to approach life, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
Nice. Professor, what would you want to share about like finding rest, right? And then being okay with like resting to kind of cap off the episode.
I find that one of the toughest challenges that I've faced, and I think a lot of people face about resting, is the perception you think people are going to have of you for resting and not training. Like since September, I've been dealing with a strained groin. At the tournament in December, I dislocated my toe. It's been painful, and I've been dealing with those issues. I have tendonitis in both of my elbows, and I really in September took my foot off the gas from rolling and was like trying to be conscious about not rolling as much to try to let my body heal. It hasn't worked. No, I have not healed. My body has only gotten worse. And over that time, I have especially, and this has always been the case. It's not just now that I'm the owner of a school, but as I was coming up, like everybody is like, show up, still be here, but just don't roll. But when you're sitting there and someone comes up and is like, oh, you want to roll? And you're like, I can't, I've got, this, that, and that, and I can't do it. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. They walk away and I'm having this, I'm imagining their internal dialogue of like, oh, what a quitter. He's not doing it, geez. And that's just not true. It doesn't exist. And you shouldn't care. Yeah. You shouldn't care. You should care about taking care of yourself. I want you to be here so that you can still keep your mind in jiu-jitsu when you're coming back from an injury. But you should take your foot off the gas. You should be thoughtful about your body and not consider any of those external factors at all. I terrorize myself with it. I'm trying to get better at it. I have forced myself. It has gotten me to roll sooner than I should have in many cases. Like many people have heard me screaming over the last month about my toe getting kicked and like me kicking the mat.
So that's his Achilles heel right there.
Yeah. Toe holds.
Toe holds and just
right
go
foot.
for the toe.
Yeah.
I've never submitted you tell you.
Yeah.
Toe.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, did he submit?
Like
when did he get me? And then, so anyway, like that's my PSA on it is just do it. Just take care of yourself. Try to silence all those stupid voices that talk to you in your brain and get you to do things that aren't healthy for you. And just know that it follows you everywhere, all throughout your jiu-jitsu journey. And it's only you that can like silence it and do what's right for you. So, and if you need someone to push you in the right direction, talk to me and I'll push you in the right direction.
Yeah. Hit up Joel. Joel will push you too. Joel, any last?
Yeah. I'll give some shout outs to my family, my friends, all the people that beat me up over the years. Especially like, I trained, I taught women's self-defense with Tracy Arlington. And so I used to put on the padded suit and, women would go to the ground, kick me, in the head and then between the legs and learn how to defend themselves, Chihuahua style. So big shout out to Tracy and, Matt Arlington and the Arlington family. Love them. And, anybody who's training martial arts or thinking about it, it's going to change your life, might save your life. So, so do it. Find a good group of people. There's so much benefit for it. It's helped me, and I'm just really grateful to be here. I love you guys. I love what we got going on here, and I just, I look forward to every day.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks again for like trusting us to, just have a conversation with us, but also
Yeah.
knowing that, the millions of people who are going to be watching this, but we appreciate you. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for being you. And like that, like if you have anyone who's even like going through like a dark time, right? Or even if you have someone who's going through a great time, like, right? Like it's important to acknowledge that we are in our great times and we can stay there, right? So don't forget to share this. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We're getting more followers every day. And remember, just keep bringing that awesome energy one roll at a time. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joel.